Hey you guys, Flash Fan here with an updated signature on a comic that y'all seen. Y'all hit that subscribe button, it helps out the channel, and let's get into this video. So guys, as you can see, we have got Nick Castle's autograph. And I have to say, now that I've met Tony Moran and Nick Castle, very awesome people, very down to earth, and very engaged in their fans when they're talking to them. They both took their time with me. Of course, Tony back in earlier of this year, and now Nick as of last weekend. I shook Nick's hand, and I said, I've been a big fan of yours since I was 4 or 5. He said, congratulations, son, you're officially scarred. We both exchanged a big hearty laugh, and he asked if I was a local. And I said, no. I said, not from Birmingham, but I said, you could say that I am. I live about an hour away. And I said, do you still live in L.A.? And he said, yeah. He said he still lives in Los Angeles. I asked him about Tony Moran. I said, hey, did y'all get to really know each other, or was it just a one-time thing? He said, well, on the first film, they only had one scene together. And then on the second film, maybe a couple, but as far as really developing a friendship, he said, not really. But he said, I do know him. And then I said, who all of the cast that you remember do these Comic Cons? And he said, him, Tony, and he said a few others that I can't remember. And then he said, but Jamie Lee Curtis would not do it. He said she's too much of a big star to do these. And he said, that's understandable. But he said, do you have something for me to sign? I said, yes, sir, I do. And he looked at this, and exact words, he said, now this is cool. He said, I see a lot of stuff like this come through, but he said, this is the first for this one. Then he started thumbing through and really reading the comic and like looking at the art. He said, I'm glad that John is still making things with Michael Myers in it. And of course, then he signed it, and I got a picture. And it was just so awesome to meet both of my favorite Michael Myers, and of course from the same film. And guys, I'm going to say this, whenever someone like this takes the time to engage with you, I shook his hand again after the picture, and I said, thank you for your time, and I said, thank you for your kindness, and I made sure I said, you have a great rest of your day. Always be kind. And he looked at me and smiled. He said, you too. And if I can't post a picture on here, I'll post it in the post section of YouTube. But guys, we're running out of time. Wanted to show you this. It's really cool. But don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment down below, and have a nice day. Love you guys. We'll catch y'all on the next one.